Prognosis had said to him, your wife is dying of acute environmental poisoning. She needs a safe place to live. And Alex says, well, where is that? He said, there isn't one. You'll have to build it.
I was working in a hospital, and they did a remodeling project, and at that time all of our patients were getting sick, and I ended up having a heart attack at age 28.
Everyday items that had not been a problem for me now were very overwhelming for me and just made me so sick.
That's me, right before I got sick in 1986. When I was singing in Boston area clubs, I was soon to experience disabling fatigue and intense flu-like symptoms. Everything around me seemed to be making me sick. My whole life as I knew it completely changed. What's going on here? It seems that our bodies can no longer handle living in such an industrialized world. More and more people are developing an illness called Multiple Chemical Sensitivities, or MCS, sometimes known as Environmental Illness, or EI. MCS is a chronic condition marked by heightened sensitivity to many common chemicals, like those found in perfumes, pesticides, car exhaust, building materials, even household cleaners. It's an isolating, terrifying, disorienting, totally confusing, often devastating illness. MCS controls where I live, what I eat, what I wear, who I sit next to, who I can hug. My doctor said that I needed to find an environmentally safe place to live. That search has been ongoing since 1986.
This looks like a really toxic house, just from the outside. It's so lovely, but the windows look like they were just done. It looks like it's probably chem-lawned and landscaped, and then you can see the cedar chips. You know, that stuff is really, that stuff is so bad.
There are so many different conditions in standard housing that can make me sick, like new paint, gas heat, carpets, cigarette smoke. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Well, it's totally beautiful and totally toxic.
I wanted to meet others who were going through this nightmare too. How did they get sick? How were they coping with such an overwhelming and isolating condition? I had heard that there were many people with MCS who had moved to the Southwest to get better. Did it work? Is there even such a thing as safe housing? I decided to go and check it out for myself. I got help to transform my van into a temporary safe mini RV. I wanted to find out, was one area of the country really safer to live in than another? Did safer housing really help people with MCS to get well? So I went on the road to get answers, record what I found, and maybe, in the process, I would finally find my own safe haven.
What I do is I begin my talks by asking the audience to respond to certain questions, such as how many of you have unexplained fatigue, how many of you have unexplained headaches, or how many of you have chronic sinus problems. And by the time I finish asking about 5 questions, the whole room has raised their hand.
In 1991, Dr. Erica Elliott began to experience joint muscle pain, rashes, and severe fatigue.
The major crux of my healing was getting out of the chemical soup. I had this house built for me in this community, which was really the beginning of my healing, to have a home that was not toxic to me.
This is the HEPA filtration system and the water filtration system. And this home features the same kind of air and water purification systems that they use on the space shuttle and on nuclear submarines. And it has the capacity to move 1 million cubic feet of air every 24 hours. So you're constantly breathing clear, filtered air which is necessary for recovery.
This house was built to avoid indoor air pollution, and so it's built to catch the prevailing breeze, so you always have a breeze coming through, and it has clear story windows at the top so that as the heat rises, it goes out. It became very clear that I could not offer my clients healthy housing or toxic housing, take your pick. This building is built within the city limits, so it's a standard frame construction, but it's very different. There's no pressed board on the outside. There's no tar wrap around the house. There's isonine insulation, which is a spray foam insulation that has a very high success rate with chemically sensitive people.
There's the comment that people say, well, it doesn't bother me. You know, I say, well, I can't go into your house because your carpeting's too new. And they say, well, it doesn't bother me. Well, there was a time when new carpeting didn't bother me. There was a time when perfume and all those other things didn't bother me. And when you find out that they bother you, it's too late.
It's very clear to me now that living in an environment free from chemical exposures improves your health. I saw many different homes on this journey, met many people who've tried to create a safe place for themselves in order to get better. Some have been able to do this with success, some have not. For all, the task is a daunting one. And as for me, my apartment of 9 years is just making me too sick to stay. I can't find any accessible housing here in Boston where I've lived for 20 years. I don't want to leave here. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I'm just so homesick.